today. It's an absolutely beautiful day outside. A little windy, as was yesterday, but I did take some time out to get outside, enjoy the sunshine and fresh air, and I hope you're doing the same. I wanted to open today's class with a little bit of a reading from Yoga 365. It's actually for March the 20th, but it kind of fit right in with the mood that I was in yesterday. And it says, look for life's sweetness. What is your outlook when you enter a room? Do you look for something interesting, inspiring, or beautiful? Do you look for life's sweetness? Or do you immediately begin critiquing what you see? It is easy to fall into a pattern of criticizing and reacting negatively, but it is important to realize that this is a choice and you can change it. If you have to choose between focusing on negative qualities and focusing on sweetness, why would you choose anything but sweetness? When we look for life sweetness, we find it. That is not to say that everything is sweet or that we shouldn't speak out when it isn't. But in an everyday sense, ask yourself at any given moment, what can I find here that is sweet? And how can I invite that experience of sweetness more deeply into my life? So yesterday, I'm losing track of my days. Today is Wednesday. So Monday I had a beautiful day. And then somewhere between 12 p.m. and 12 o'clock on Tuesday, around lunchtime, I was just in a really bad funk. And I came in and got on the mat, opened up this little book to That Sweet Message. And it was a lovely reminder that I have a choice as to how I choose to feel. Or I can look at everything negatively, or I can choose to find the sweetness in life. And so the rest of the day yesterday was just wonderful. So I'll set that off to the side. Our practice for today is a balancing practice. And I do have Shirshasana headstand in the practice, but I will offer a modification for those who do not practice headstand on a regular basis. Sometimes we just need to work with the strength building before we ever try to go upside down. So let's go ahead, take a moment and center. So if you would, let's balance the sitting bones to the blocks. And then allow your gaze to drop down towards the floor, or allow your eyes to gently close. And before we focus on anything else today, just ask yourself, how am I feeling in this moment? And then ask the self, where do I need balance in my life? Where do I need balance in my yoga practice? Do I balance work with play? Do I balance my yoga practice in that, do I only practice the poses that I enjoy? Or do I often attempt poses that I don't like? Do I balance the active practice with a restorative practice? Now take your attention back to your body. Can you evenly press down into the shin bones and the tops of the feet? And as you ground down, can you feel a slight lift of the body upward? Again, root your sitting bones into the props evenly. Equally lift the sides of your waist up. Lift your breastbone, broaden across your collarbones, soften the shoulder blades down the back. And then gently lift upward through the crown of your head. And let's visit with the sweetness of the breath. The sweetness of that inhale and the sweetness of that exhale. So many people in this time with the COVID-19, people are struggling to find their breath, to connect in with that breath. Feel the body, the front body move forward, and the back body move back with your inhale. And then breathe evenly into the side ribs, feeling the side ribs move out to your sides. And can you connect with the breath moving upward and downward? Now let's bring palms together in front of your heart center. Form an intention in the mind. And then with your exhalation, bow head to heart and offer that intention into your heart center. Gently release your hands down. Slowly open your eyes and lift your gaze. Okay, so let's start by taking the arms up and overhead, interlace through your fingers, and spin the palms upward. Again, root into the shins and feet and buttock bones. As you lift the sides of the waist up, shoulder blades rise, knuckle mounds rise, chin bows towards the chest. Release your hands, slowly lift your gaze. And let's repeat it with an opposite interlace. So as you inhale, take your fingers up, arms up, interlace your fingers. Spin your palms upward. And again, press the tops of the shins and feet down. Ground the buttock bones. Equally lift the sides of the waist. Allow the shoulder blades to rise, knuckle mounds to rise, chin to bow. Maybe you feel a little out of sorts in the shoulders this morning. And then separate your arms out to the sides and down. Lift your gaze. Let's take an easy twist to your right. So keep your chin aligned with your breastbone. Root down into the floor to inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, gently deepen your twist. And with your exhale, come to center. Let's twist to your left. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, gently twist to the left. And let's try one more lift as you inhale and twist as you exhale. And then with the following exhale, come to center. So let's extend the legs forward in staff pose. So extend the legs out. I want to talk about the 4 points of the feet. So the big toe mound, little toe mound, inner and outer heel. We need to create a balance in that part of the body when we go to some of our one-legged standing poses. So why not work with pushing through the feet equally, through the 4 points of your feet. Now contract your quadriceps, press your thigh bones down, and use your hands to assist the lift of the spine. So squeeze thigh muscles to bone, press the thigh bones towards the floor, release, squeeze, press, release. One more time, squeeze, press, release, and then bring the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. So press the feet to each other, contract the back of the legs to each other, give a gentle tug on the ankles or toes, whichever one you're holding. Keep the chest lifted. And then press the outer edges of your feet together so that your feet begin to open like a book. Now let's close the feet. Support the outer legs. Draw them up. Extend the legs out to straight. So let's come on to our bag body. Just to do a little bit of a warm-up. Okay. So recline onto your back. And with an inhalation, sweep your arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, extend long through the body. From your navel, lengthen up through your fingertips. And from the navel, lengthen out towards the 4 points of the feet. Inhale, soften the body. Exhale, extend, pushing through the 4 points. Pushing out through the fingertips. And scooping the buttocks towards the heels. Inhale, soften. Exhale, extend. Inhale, soften. As you exhale, draw your right knee to your chest. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, leg out. Exhale, left knee to chest. Inhale, arms overhead, leg out. As you exhale, right knee to chest. Inhale, arms overhead, leg out. Exhale, left knee to chest. Inhale, arms overhead, leg out. Exhale, right knee to chest. Inhale, arms overhead, leg out. Exhale, left knee to chest. Inhale, arms overhead, leg out. Exhale, draw your right knee back into your chest. Place your foot on the left thigh. Take the right arm off to the side. Use your left hand. Keep your left leg active, and as you exhale, gently twist to your left. Look over to your right. Take a couple of breaths here. And then come back to center. Sweep the arms overhead, leg out. Exhale, left knee into the chest. Place the left foot on the right thigh. Left arm goes off to the side, and as you exhale, gently twist to your right. Let your head turn to the left. And then come to center. Take the arms overhead. Full body stretch again. And then lower arms down by your sides. So now we need the belt. For big toe pose 1. So I have a small loop in mine, and I'll keep that. You don't necessarily need that. Let's bend knees so the pelvis is balanced. Draw the right knee towards the chest. Hook the belt around the right heel now and take the right leg up. Now I need to tighten my belt a tad so that I can have my arms straight but yet still keep my shoulder blades pinned to the floor. Okay. Now I'm going to push the heel up into the belt as I contract my quadriceps. Okay. Now extend the left leg out to straight. And then push both feet away from the pelvis. Contract both of your quadriceps, both sets. Okay? So your left thigh bone is spinning in and down. Right thigh bone is pushing forward. Outer right hip moves away from the head, so you have equal space on both sides of the waistline. And then lift the bottom of your belly. Let's take one more breath here. And then micro bend the top knee, bend the bottom knee. Let the foot come to the floor. Extend your legs out for just a moment. Feel the difference between your two sides. And let's again begin from bent knees. Draw your left knee in. Take the left foot up. And then extend the right leg out. So push the feet away from the pelvis. Contract the quadriceps. Push your right one in and down. The thigh bone is in and down. Left thigh bone pushes forward. Use the L shape of your left hand into your hip crease. Roll the flesh away. Keep the shoulder blades pinning to the floor as you lift the bottom of the belly. Let's take one more breath here. And then bend the knee, release the leg all the way out to straight. So we're going to set the belt off to the side, bend your knees, carefully roll to your right side, push yourself upward, and we'll come into tabletop. So if you need to pad your mat with a blanket, then please do so. We're going to start with Marjarasana, cat pose. So if you would, align your hands directly underneath your shoulders and have your inner elbows facing each other to begin with. Knees underneath the hips. Okay, so you could work with toes tucked if that's happier in your body. You can work with toes turned down. So with an exhalation, press your hands into the floor. Draw your sitting bones towards the floor and arch the spine upward. As you inhale, sitting bones lift up. Pull your heart forward. Inner elbow pit spin forward. Exhale, sitting bones turn down towards the floor. Arch the spine, look towards the navel. Inhale, sitting bones lift up, heart lifts. Exhale, arching up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, arch. Inhaling, lengthen. Exhaling, arch. Inhaling, lengthen. Let's do one more. And then come back to that neutral spine. Separate your knees as wide as your sticky mat, or as close to as wide as the sticky mat, and rock your hips back. Walk your arms as far forward as you can, and then begin to descend your heart. Now let's walk the hands over to your left. See if you can creep your right fingertips a little bit more forward, and then root your right sitting bone back towards your heels. And then visit the breath. Can you feel the breath moving into the front body, the back ribs, the side ribs, yet up and down? Take one more breath here. Walk your arms forward. Maybe your right side feels longer than the other, so let's balance that by walking your hands over to your right. Creep your left fingertips a little more forward. Root your left sitting bone back towards your heels. And revisit the breath. Where is it moving in the body? Can you invite it into those places that are stuck? And then walk your hands back to center, back up underneath the body, and then come back into tabletop. So we want to check in with our toes. So for some folks, this here might be their practice. Or maybe it's just a little bit of a rocking back, but you want to stretch out the bottoms of the feet. So take a deep, I'm going to walk my hands a little bit more forward. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, rock your hips back towards your heels. Notice what you feel in the toes, the bottom of the feet. And then as you inhale, come up. And as you exhale, rock back. And as you inhale, come up. And as you exhale, rock back. And then bring your hands back up underneath your shoulders. And we'll look at a calf stretch. So with hands underneath the shoulders, inner elbows facing each other, take your right foot towards the back edge of your mat. Okay? And with the toes tucked under again. So the first one was a little bit of a warm-up for this. So keep the belly engaged, so low belly lifted and towards the spine and gently up towards the heart. As you exhale, press your heel back towards the back edge of your mat. One more breath. And then bring that right knee back down to the sticky mat. Extend your left foot back. And as you exhale, press the heel towards the back end of the mat. And then bring the left knee back down towards the floor. Okay, so keep the hands grounded. If you need to come out and roll them out, by all means do so. Let's take the right toes back towards the back edge of the mat, and let's see if we can keep the pelvis or the back pelvis neutral, okay? So can you lift your right leg from your inner right thigh? Keep a tongue to the belly, keep pressing down into the floor with your hands, and extend back through the 4 points of your right leg. And bring that right knee back down to the floor. Extend the left toes back towards the back edge of your mat, and from your inner left thigh, float your leg up. Push the 4 points of your feet. Keep the low belly engaged. Keep the pelvis as close to neutral as possible. Keep pushing hands down. And bring that knee back towards the floor. Let's go back to the right side. So you can keep the right toes on the floor for now, but let's lift left hand or left arm in line with left ear. And then lower the hand down. Let's switch sides. Extend the left leg back, left toes to floor. Left inner elbow faces towards the midline of the body. Lift your right arm, the arm in line with the inner ear. And then bring hand down to the floor. So let's just have a seat for just a moment. Roll your wrist out. Know that you can choose stage 1, which is just toes to the floor. Stage 2, toes to the floor, arm lifted. Or stage 3 will be to lift the leg off the floor. So let's play with that for a moment. Okay, so right toes go back. Right leg lifts from the inner right thigh. Foot flexes in. Right hand grounds to the floor. Lift left arm. Try to keep the pelvis neutral, meaning don't allow the hip to lift or sag towards the floor. And then lower the arm, lower the leg. Let's try the other side. The left toes back towards the back edge of your mat. From your inner left thigh, float the leg up level with your pelvis. Keep your left hand grounding to the floor. Float your right arm up. Keep the bottom of the belly lifted. Gaze towards the floor. And lower the hand, lower the leg. Take a child's pose. Walk your, well, it's technically Adho Mukha Virasana. Child's pose, legs, Adho Mukha arms. Now, from where your hands are now, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up just a little bit, and then lift into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So walk your dog if you need to by pressing your right heel towards the floor. Left heel will be off the floor, and then switch. Left heel comes to the floor, right heel is off. and switch. And switch. One more time. And then straighten both legs, lift high onto your hips. Walk your feet forward. Uttanasana. And then bend your knees, hands to hips, and inhale, up you come. Okay, so let's add a little bit of half sun salutes. So I'm going to place my blocks here towards the front of my sticky mat. And then you meet me there at the middle, okay? So palms together in front of your heart center. Reconnect back in with your intention for your practice. Root down into your feet. Lift up through your thighs. Lift your belly. And as you inhale, follow your thumbs upward. As you exhale, bend your knees. Bow forward. As soon as hands touch the block, straighten the legs. Uttanasana. Inhale, lift flat back. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bow. Bend your knees, sink your hips low, palms come together, inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhaling, look up. Exhaling, bend and bow, Uttanasana. Inhaling, look up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhaling, bow, bend your knees, palms come together, inhaling, look up. Exhaling, hands to heart. Last time. Inhaling, look up. Exhaling, bend and bow. Inhaling, look up. Exhaling, bow. I'm going to set the blocks off to the side. Bend my knees, plant my hands, and step back into downward facing dog. And then drop your knees to the floor. So I have 2 quarter fold blankets, and I'm going to put one to each side of my mat. I'm going to call those my angel wings. And I'm going to step to the side just a moment, tuck my shirt in. Should have wore a different shirt. Okay, so our pose that we'll be looking at is pigeon pose. And I want to offer it 2 different ways. So one is just moving into the pose from tabletop, and the other will move into it from downward facing dog. So take your tabletop position, and we will start with your right leg. So right knee is going to move towards right wrist. All right. And I'm going to move the knee there now. And now I feel like I'm too bunchy over the front of my legs. So I want to tuck the left toes under and wiggle the left leg back. Now my right hip is elevated off the floor a little bit. So I want to pull my blanket up underneath so that it supports me. Now, I can walk my hands back so that I'm more upright. So now place your mind in your inner left leg and lengthen inner thigh back towards the big toe. And then draw the pinky toe side of your foot towards the floor. Press into the floor with your hands to support the lift of your spine and lift the bottom of your belly up. Now, draw your inner left hip towards your inner right knee. Now to come out, plant your hands, tuck your back toes under, lift up a little bit, draw your left knee in, and step your right leg back. Now let's try to the other side, and you'll be able to see how I supported the hip there. Okay, so now left knee is going to go towards left wrist. There it is. I'm bunchy in the front, so I'm going to tuck the right toes under, wiggle the leg towards the back edge of my sticky mat, and then pull in my lunging pad. my angel wings, okay? All right, now put your mind in your inner right leg, lengthen back towards the big toe of the right foot. Press the pinky toe side of the foot towards the floor. Use your hands to push into the floor, lift you up. Lift your belly. And then draw your inner right hip energetically towards your left knee. And then gently bring hands to the floor. Tuck your toes in. Scoop your back knee in a little bit. Slide your left leg back. Now we do this from Adho Mukha Svanasana. So I'm going to turn my body around so you can see the right leg this time. Okay, here we go. Okay. So from the tabletop position, I'm going to walk my hand, one hand width forward, and then lift my hips up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now, Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. So ground your left toenails and toes in towards the floor as you lift your right leg up. Now, I'm looking forward, so I know where I'm going. I want to draw my right knee towards my right wrist. And then tuck the back toes under so I can wiggle the leg back. Pull your blankets up underneath your hips. Now, I'm not just leaning over to the side. I want to balance the pelvis so that both of my hip points are forward. Push the fingertips into the floor to support the lift of the spine. Lift your belly and then lengthen from your inner left going through your back toe, big toe, and press your pinky toe side towards the floor. Chest stays lifted. Shoulder blades are down the back and pinning to the upper back ribs. Plant the hands to the floor, tuck the back toes under, lift up and back, downward facing dog. Now let's do the other side. Okay, so ground the right toe mounds into the floor and from your inner left thigh, float your left leg up, look forward. Draw your left leg forward, left knee towards left wrist, wiggle the right leg back. Pull your blanket up underneath you. And then use your fingertips, press down, lift up. Okay. Lift the bottom of your belly. Lengthen through your inner right leg to big toe. Pinky toe presses to floor. And then hands come to the mat. Tuck the back toes under, lift up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. I'm going to move my wings off to the side. Inhaling, look forward and make your way forward to the front of your mat. Uttanasana, hands to hips, and inhale, up you come. So I'll set my props off to the side because we'll be using the wall now as a prop for Vrikshasana. Now, I'm not standing on my sticky mat. That's okay. I feel a little more grounded sometimes in Vrikshasana when I'm standing on the wood surface. So I'm going to position the left side of my body to the wall and use my left hand to the wall. Now there are 3 placements for the legs in tree pose. So the toes can stay to the floor. No, that is perfectly fine. The inside of the foot can go to it's not the inside of the foot, it's the sole of the foot to the inside of the calf. Or it can go higher into, whoops, these pants are slippery, up into the inner thigh, okay? Now the only place you don't want to use it is the kneecap, because that's not a kickstand, okay? All right, so left hand to the wall. Ground the 4 points of your left foot. Bend your right knee, slightly turn it out, and decide where you would like for your foot to be for tree pose. I'm going to go higher into the inner thigh. Okay. Now, I'm not forcing the hips back. I want to keep both hip points forward. Ground your left foot into the floor. Firm your thighs. Lift the energy up from the earth. Lengthen the inner groin to the knee, lift your belly, lift your chest. Maybe you take your left hand up the wall, right arm up. It's totally up to you. And if you feel like you could lift your hands away from the wall for just a breath, please do. Lower the hand, lower the leg. Now let's turn, go to the other side. Ground your right foot into the floor, the 4 points. Use your right hand to the wall to support you. Bend your left knee, turn it out, and then decide where you want your tree to be. I'm going to match what I did on the other side, so I'm going higher into the inner thigh. Reground your right foot, refirm your thigh muscles. Lengthen the inner groin to the knee. Lift your belly. Add your right arm on up the wall if you can. Possibly add your left arm. You can take the hand off the wall if that's suitable for your practice today. And then lower arm, lower leg. Now, I'd like for us to try it out in the center of the room, if at all possible. If you need, I have a chair close by. You could have a chair close by if you felt like you needed to support yourself. And you would put that, I'll be doing my left leg, you'll be doing your right leg. So your chair would go to your left, okay? So ground the 4 points of your left foot and spread your toes wide. And then bend your right knee, turn it out. And the leg may be lower here depending on how the balance is. I'm going to shoot for a little higher today. Now ground your left foot into the floor. Firm your thighs. Press your inner leg to the foot, foot to leg. Lengthen the groin to the knee. Lift your belly. Maybe add the arms. Lower the arms, lower the leg. Let's try to the other side. Okay, so spread and ground the right 4 points of your foot. Bend your left knee, turn it out. And then try for the same place, you put your foot on the other leg. To focus, find your drishti point. That's your focal point. Now root your right foot into the floor. Lift your right kneecap and thigh. Press your thigh and foot towards each other. Lift your belly. Lift your arms. I feel like a tree blowing in the wind today. Lower arms, lower leg. Okay. So I'm going to bring my chair into play now for just a little bit of a balance of a figure 4. So I've got this chair there in case I need it, but I want to ground the left foot into the floor and firm the thighs. I'm going to cross my right ankle over the left knee. Now I'm going to hold onto the chair for balance and begin to sit the hips back. So ground through your left foot, flex your right toes in towards your shin, and then as you exhale, bend your knee like you're going to sit into a chair. You might even feel like, oh, I can take my hands off of the chair, but it's there if you need it. And then slowly rise up, let your foot come to the floor. Right. Now I'm going to spin my chair around to the other side so you can see this. Okay, so ground your right foot into the floor. Bend your knee a little bit. Cross your left ankle over. So this is like eye of the needle. And I'll show another way you could do it just in case standing is not in your wheelhouse of practice. So flex your left foot in. Lift your belly, and as you exhale, sink your hips towards the floor. How might they differ? Maybe your balance is off on this particular side. You know, our balance can change from day to day. So some days we hold tree pose for a good while and some days we don't. Now press your feet into the floor and lift up. So let me show this sitting, just in case you want to try it sitting. Okay, so I'll be switching legs here. It will be your right leg, my left. I want to stack my right knee over right ankle and then cross my left. You will keep your left knee over left ankle and cross your right ankle over the left knee. Now inhale, lift up. That might be enough. You might already feel something in the hip, but then you can just draw the heart center forward. So here I have to balance on my sitting bones. I can't allow more weight to be in one than the other. And then slowly come back. And let's place that foot to the floor. Switch the cross, so it'd be your left leg crossed over. Now flex your foot in. Keep your knee and ankle stacked over top of each other. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, gently pull your heart forward. Say hello to your outer hip. I didn't feel quite as much sensation when I was standing doing this. However, I do feel more in a seated posture. And then slowly bring the torso back to center and release the leg down. Now, we're going to come to standing big toe pose. I'll set my chair off to the side. Let me get my belt again. Now we'll do it at the wall. We'll do the right leg first. Use the left hand to support you. And then we'll try it one time without the wall. Okay? So now I have the tail of the belt to the outside of my leg. I'm going to use my left hand to the wall, and I'm again standing on the wood surface. So shift your weight onto your left leg. Make sure you're grounding the 4 points of your foot. And then bend your right knee and lasso the foot. Now I'm going to take my hand down towards the ankle. And then slowly when you're ready, take the leg to straight. Now don't lean back. I caught myself trying to lean back there. All right, so here, push the feet away from the pelvis. So one is going to go into the wood surface, one is going to go into the space, air. And then contract your quadriceps, drop your outer right hip down. We did this earlier. And keep the chest lifted and broad. One more breath. Bend the knee. Release the belt. Let's go to the other side. Okay. So now I got my right hand onto the wall. Whoops. Mat challenges here. Right hand is onto the wall. Left belt is in left hand. And then walk your hand down toward the ankle. Use your right hand to the wall if you need it. And then slowly extend that leg to straight. Okay, so push the 4 points of the feet away from your pelvis. So one's going to go down, one's going to go forward. Engage your kneecaps and thighs. Drop your outer left hip down towards the floor. So we have equal space on the waistline. Lift your belly, lift your chest. Keep your gaze forward if you need to. You can take a hand off the wall if needed. One more breath. Bend the knee. Release. So let's give it a try out in the center of the room. Okay? So I'm going to take my loop out. Okay. So this is only if you wish to challenge yourself just a bit more. I'll be doing my left leg, it'll be your right leg. So ground on your right foot. No, ground on your left foot. Draw your right knee up towards the chest. Hold down towards the bottom of the belt, toward the ankle. Take your arm off to the side. It will be your left arm. And when you're ready, extend your leg to straight. So push your feet away from your pelvis, firm your thighs, drop your outer right hip down, lift your belly, try to breathe. Bend the knee, lower the leg down. So let's try to the other side. My balance is off today on this side. So ground your right foot. Draw your left knee up towards the chest, choke down onto the belt. Take your right arm off to the side. When you're ready, extend your leg out. Push your feet away from your pelvis. Firm your thighs. Drop your outer left hip down. Lift your belly, lift your chest. Bend the knee, lower down. How was that? Okay, so now I'm going to set the belt off to the side. I'm going to move my blankets out of the way a little bit. And we'll practice Trikonasana, and then we'll add on from there. Okay, so stand. I've placed my blocks on the back side of my sticky mat. You'll do the same. And I will be doing my left leg, you'll be doing your right leg. So as you inhale, bring your hands up. As you exhale, bend your knees. And as you inhale, jump or step your feet apart. Okay. Turn your left leg in 15 or 20 degrees and your right leg out 90. Press your feet down, firm your thighs, lift your belly, expand from your heart center out into the fingertips. As you exhale, extend over the front leg, let your hand find the block, take the top arm up. Now that I'm in the pose, I feel like I can widen my stance a little bit more. So let's go back over your actions. Reground your feet, relift your thighs, lift the belly, and then press down into your left hand to assist the lift of the top arm. So it's a straight line of energy. If you feel you can turn your block down without bringing your torso forward of the front leg, then please do. Keep the head in line with the spine. If your balance is off, look towards the floor or look forward. Don't attempt to turn the head upward. Now to come out, press your feet down and up you come. Turn your feet forward. Okay. Turn the right foot in 15 or 20, the left leg out full 90. Reground your feet, firm your thighs, lift your belly. Expand from your heart center out into your fingertips. Exhale over, hand to block. Top arm is up. And again, I need to widen my stance. So repress your feet into the floor. Firm your thighs, lift and lengthen the spine. Push down into your left hand to lift up to the top. And then maybe, just maybe, you turn the prop down. Just don't compromise the space on the sides of the waist, meaning don't round the spine to make that happen. Inhale, up you come. Turn your feet forward, step it together. So now I'm going to turn my blocks back up again, and we'll set up for Ardha Chandrasana, which is a balancing pose on one leg, also known as half moon. I have shown this a couple of weeks ago where we did it on the chair, and you are more than welcome to use that. Today I'll be using the block. If you choose to use the chair, your hand is going to land on the chair instead of the block. Okay? So stand mid-mat. Inhale, bring your hands up. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, step or jump your feet apart. The stance this time is a little shorter, and we don't hold it as long. So turn your left leg in 15 or 20 degrees, right leg out full 90. Connect back in with your grounding of the 4 points, lifting of the thighs, lifting of the belly, and extend out and over, triangle pose. Now, into Ardha Chandrasana. I'm going to move back a little bit. And my block is going to be in my way on that side. Okay. All right, now, take the top hand down to the hip and turn your gaze down towards the floor. Your foot will probably want to do a little dance, but tell it to stay. Now, bend your front knee, step your block forward. It's about 6 inches of the pinky toe, maybe a little more. Lift the back leg, roll the hip open, add the top arm. Oops. Bring the hand down, bend the front knee, go back into triangle pose, and inhale, up you come. Now, let's try it to the other side. Okay. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, step or jump your feet apart. Turn your right leg in, left leg out. As you exhale, extend over and into Trikonasana. Okay, take your top hand down towards the hip. Take your gaze towards your foot. Tell your foot to stay. Bend your front knee. Step your block forward. And then begin to bring the leg up. Straightening the bottom leg. Push the top leg. Roll the hip open. Shoulders open. Add the top arm. To come out of the pose, top hand comes down, bend your front knee, plant the foot to the floor, triangle pose. Trikonasana. Inhale, up you come. Turn your feet and hands towards each other, step them together. Alrighty. So, I'm going to turn my mat in just a moment, but this will be your option for Shirshasana, okay? So I want to talk to you a moment about the interlace of the fingers. So the first 3 fingers are going to interlace, and you can interlace the pinky fingers as well, but for me, that hurts. And if you have rings on, you might want to take them off. I guess if I practice more like that, that would have great benefit for me. But for today, I'm going to just set the pinkies inside one another. Now, when I come down, so this will be the placement for your arms, so that the elbow and the shoulder are aligned, and this part of the arm, the forearm, will be on the floor. So it's dolphin pose, which will resemble downward facing dog, but on your forearms. And then I'll spin my mat and go up into Shirshasana. So when I come down, interlace the 3 fingers and make a little cup. And I'm imagining that I've got an egg stuck in my cup. I'm going to scoot my arms a little more forward. I'm going to start with my knees directly underneath my pelvis. Tuck your toes under. Press your arms down. When you press your arms down, you'll feel a broadening of the shoulder blades. So I'm collapsed. There's nothing to support me. So if I press down and lift, I've got lots of support. And the inner and outer wrist bone have got to be stacked on top of each other. They can't roll out to the side. All right, now, tuck your toes under and lift your knees up off the floor. Maybe walk your feet in just a little bit. Push your forearms into the floor to lift up and away. Breathe. So for purposes of the video, I'm just going to hold for 3 breaths. But you could drop your knees down to the floor, rock your hips back, and take a child's pose. Now, if you're working to build strength in your body, you could practice it off and on several different times. So I'm going to turn my mat to you, and I will just apologize now because my bum will have to be towards the screen. I'm going to be using the wall to go up with today. It's Salamba Shirshasana supported headstand, and I'll have feet to the wall at first, and hopefully I'll be able to bring them off. Okay. So I want to set up with the same interlace, face wall. Now, if you do not have Shirshasana in your practice, please don't start today. Work with dolphin pose, and then when we're able to start back in the studio regularly, we'll practice some Shirshasana then. Okay, ready? So, I'm going to bring my forearms down to the floor and place my, it's not the forehead, it's like where my hairline is at, and I'll take a leg up. Okay, there. Now I have the feet on the wall for now, but I could bend one knee and take one leg up and practice that way. Or we take both legs off. Whoops. You can't focus at what you're doing in a video. Now, to come down, we'll slide both feet down the wall. Draw the knees in towards the chest, feet to the floor, and take a child's pose. So I'll turn sideways here. Child's pose, because I was in the inversion. Fingertips to the floor, and push yourself upward. So, now, I'm going to spin my mat back around. And pull my blankets back into the practice. All right. So now I want to practice a supported bridge pose. And you can use several heights. You can use the lowest height. You can use the middle height. You could even use the tallest height. I think for now I'll start with the middle height and then shoot to go up a little higher. So I'm recline to the floor and then press the feet down and my shoulders down, and as I inhale, lift the hips up. Now I slide the block so it's on the back pelvis. And I'm fully supported, and I can just recline here. Not a lot of actions. I'm not allowing the legs to splay out, so there's a little bit of keeping the knees in line with the hip points. I'll take one more breath here. Now when I lift up onto my toes, I lift my hips up higher as I inhale and slide the block in that exact same space. Now I can roll the shoulders under the body. Now, number one thing, do not turn your head. So you might want to watch this part of the practice before actually attempting it. You can pause it and come back. Now, I'm going to come down, but I want to come up onto my toes again, lift my hips up, and I want to turn the block down onto its lowest level. And I want to sink my sacrum and back pelvis back onto the block. All right. Now, before I come off the block, I want you to squeeze your buttocks. We'll do 9. After your 9th one, press your feet down, lift your hips up, slide your block out to the side, recline the sacrum down towards the floor. Now, I don't have my belt right here with me, but I want to lengthen out or reset the back body from the back bend that I just completed. So I want to keep my left knee bent and take my right leg up, and I'm just going to hold behind the leg here, okay? So I'm not even really trying to force, you never force in yoga, let me rephrase that. I'm not trying to feel a big hamstring stretch here. I'm And then bend the knee, foot to floor. We'll take the left one up now. Bend the knee, foot to floor. Very slowly roll to your right. Push yourself upward, and we'll get our props for Shavasana. Now what I'd like for you to do today, if you have your blankets, you can use 2 beach towels, is roll like a jelly roll and put it towards the back edge of your mat and make it look like right down the center. And then I have the second blanket, and that's going to form like a T across the top. All right, now I'm going to position myself so that I have the blanket roll at my low back, and I want to recline back so that I feel as if my body is draping over the roll. Oh yeah, that feels pretty good. However, if this doesn't feel comfortable in your body, then you just slide the blanket underneath the knees and one underneath the head. So here, for Shavasana, let's allow the bones to drop and to feel heavy. And then maybe open and close the mouth a couple of times to relax any tension in the jaw. Take a couple of deep breaths. Allow your body to settle into Shavasana. So please know that you can stay here longer, but for the purpose of the video, I'm going to go ahead and come out so you can bend your knees, slowly roll to your right, push yourself upward. I'm going to pull my blanket roll back up underneath my sitting bones. So taking a comfortable seated posture, bring your palms together in front of your heart center. I encourage each of you to take a moment to find sweetness in every day, even in the simplest of things. It could be a flower, it could be someone's smile, the trees blooming. They're beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.